Premature births in Brooklyn's Black community continue to confound and concern health officials. I'll be joined by two health professionals in a moment to discuss this. You'll meet Denis West, Deputy Executive Director of Brooklyn Perinatal Network, Regina Onceicao, Certified Lactation Counselor and Certified Doula and Midwife Assistant, and Valentine, who has been told she may have a preterm baby. Also in this program, are Black small business owners getting the support of people in the communities they serve? This includes people in neighborhoods who share their culture. Delroy Wright, owner of Delroy's Cafe in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and Camille Hostick-Ortiz, Interim Director of Outreach at New York Small Business Services, will join me to discuss this. But we begin with a discussion of premature births. In the United States, preterm birth affects approximately 1 in every 10 babies. What is that figure here in Brooklyn?
Well, in some of our communities in Brooklyn, particularly those that are most vulnerable, it's almost twice that amount. Flatbush and Brownsville have rates of maybe 1 in 20. I mean, double that amount, right? About 17%, 17 to 20% of preterm births. So while the country's preterm birth rate is lower, in communities of Brooklyn, particularly high risk, which includes North and Central Brooklyn, is probably twice that of the overall borough and of New York City overall.
That's alarming, Regina.
Yes. So in those areas of Brooklyn, so Bushwick, Bed-Stuy, East New York, Brownsville, those communities, there is a higher prematurity, and it is alarming.
What do you term prematurity? How many weeks into pregnancy?
So prematurity is anything before 37 weeks in pregnancy. So if a mom gives birth before 37 weeks, that's considered premature.
What are the dangers?
So the dangers are, babies are coming out sooner than when they're supposed to, and so you're looking at sometimes their lungs aren't fully developed. So if a mom goes into a premature birth, then the providers are rushing to get this baby to develop quicker. So for example, like they'll give them a shot to get their lungs to develop quicker so that when the baby is born, they could breathe on their own. And you're also looking at like brain development. Babies also have a hard time with nursing if they're born too soon. So they're a little behind.
Valentine, I'm told that you are likely to give birth to a preterm baby.
Yes.
Talk to me about.
When I was like 29 weeks, I feel like cramping, like I have contraction. The doctor told me that I might have a preterm baby. Right now I'm 30 weeks pregnant. Right now they give me like 2 shots for the lumps, and then they give me like a medication for the brain to develop the brains. And then I cannot work. I'm in bed rest.
What are the warning signs, Denise?
And then they told me that when you're 29 weeks, you give birth, it's like 90% chance the baby can live.
Are you scared?
Yes. I'm really scared.
What support do you have?
The support that I have is my my sister, and then the program that I'm in, they really support me a lot, and my family.
Yes.
Yeah. My husband is not here, so.
Okay.
So, I mean, high blood pressure can be one of the signs, and it's one of the leading causes for preterm birth, and has other later effects. And she, Valencia mentioned her sister, which is a sister friend, which is the Birthing Project. We find that if women have support early during pregnancy, it is a prevention intervention, but that it can stop a lot of different things, possibly preterm birth, social isolation. It can impact the reduction of domestic violence because you have other supports that are there to move you out of that situation. We know that if people do not have, pregnant women do not have support, they tend to give birth earlier. And as Regina mentioned, that means that's a preterm birth. The babies don't get a chance to weigh the ultimate weight that they could. Women go into perinatal depression quicker without that other social support services that they may need.
Valentina, what were your warning signs?
Stress can make you do the baby premature.
So
Yes.
you recognized that you were stressed.
Yes, a
What
lot.
else?
And then my blood pressure was kind of low level, and then diabetes.
Diabetes?
Yes.
Ooh. Regina, what are some of the other warning signs that people need to be aware of?
Right. So the warning signs are high blood pressure, severe edema, which is severe swelling. It's normal for pregnant women to have edema, but it's not normal if they have severe edema. Also blurred vision, dizziness. And also when they see the provider and they do like a urine test if there's protein in the urine, those are all signs that preeclampsia might be happening. And so it's really important that women are getting their prenatal care.
We know that nationally about 69% of those that have preeclampsia, of deaths, could have been prevented. And so that is a big opportunity for preventative services when we know that more than almost 70% could have been preventable. So we have to look at what are the resources that are available to the community. What are resources available to community agencies that are serving women, such as Valencia? What are some of the other mitigating factors, such as social determinants of health, poverty, food, socialization or isolation? All of those components have an impact on the woman's health and that of the family as well.
Regina, you said you were a doula.
Yes.
What is a doula?
Basically, a professional who provides labor support to pregnant women. Not only do we provide labor support, but we provide physical and emotional support during pregnancy, during the labor, and even postpartum. So what I do is I provide prenatal visits, and I'll meet one-on-one with an expecting mom and basically talk about how the pregnancy is going, what are the mom's expectations of how she wants her birth to go, and I also talk about like how her home is, like how is she really feeling, if there's anything stressing her out, and so basically I connect her to community resources that she could benefit from.
So Regina, I'm sure that all of this information has been very useful to you.
Yes.
Ms. West.
So
you said
I
that,
said, go
yes,
ahead.
I know that you were with the Brooklyn Perinatal Network.
Yes.
But you do several other associated things.
Right.
What are some of them?
So Brooklyn Perinatal Network is a community-based organization that focuses on pregnant and parenting women, the maternal child health period. We have also expanded to interconceptual, preconceptual health because we find that if you intervene before a woman is thinking about pregnancy, you get to intervene on her nutrition, you get to intervene on her daily practices that can prevent low birth weight or infant mortality. We also have, I've been using the term Birthing Project, and Valencia has mentioned the Sister Friend. A Sister Friend it's a one-on-one program that provides emotional and practical support to women and serves as an extended family model. So it is not a 9 to 5. It is not a 5-day a week. It's a 24-hour. They're early during pregnancy up to the child's first birthday, because what we want to prevent also, what we want to ensure is that the baby is also past their first year birthday, which is what is termed as infant mortality.
What can be done? I know you mentioned it earlier, but elaborate on what can be done to prevent preterm births.
Well, I think it's really important that women stay connected, and really, it takes a village, and it really takes a village to raise children, but it also takes a village to support a mom. And so the village, there's plenty. There's plenty of great community organizations that are providing these support services. So, for example, there's the By My Side support program, which is part of the Department of Public Health in Brooklyn.
What's that again? The
By My Side support program.
By My Side, yes.
Yes, and so that program provides doulas to women. They match a doula to a mom, and then that doula will follow the mom throughout her pregnancy. There's also something called centering pregnancy, which is group education, and now it's basically you get women who are pregnant, and they're due around the same time, and then you have group education, prenatal education. And the studies show that when women are with other women and they're learning, they get empowered, and then you're reducing their stress, and then they're having better birth outcomes.
Valentina, talk to me about that support that you're getting. I know you did say that you get some support from your family.
Yes.
From your husband who...
Back home.
Back home.
Yes.
So he is not here with you.
No.
Okay. But talk a bit more about the support system that's in place for you and how that has been helpful to you.
I got Miss Rose always standing by me and always call me, and then always talking about, I got a doula, a girl, I forgot her name. And then I got Miss Wright by my side to always call me and then try to feed me in some programs.
I'm fascinated by this word or term doula.
It means with women. That's what it means. It's a Greek word that says with women.
Okay, so a certified doula. Explain this. Being certified.
So there's plenty of organizations that provide the certification. I was certified through an organization called DONA International, formerly known as Doulas of North America. But there are plenty of organizations that provide the training for it.
Denis, I'm going to give you the last word. What do you say to women who are contemplating getting pregnant, or women who are pregnant? What do you say to them in terms of this fear of giving birth to a preterm baby? Should that fear be discussed at all? What do you say to women?
What I say to women that are contemplating pregnancy and those that are pregnant is to seek and get all the information that you can. Do not let fear stumble you and not allow you to get the information that you can. And also bring in family members. There are very many telling signs. And what has happened is that women do not necessarily recognize them, nor do other providers or family members recognize them. They say, "Oh, you're pregnant, and we expect this to happen," when actually it is something that should be identified, noticed, and then sought to make sure that they are okay. And so, seek information. I'm sure you will be listed in our organization. We're one of the places that people can get information. Do not let fear stop you from getting pregnant. Do not let fear stop you from reaching out for services. You are not alone in this.
And if you have been told that you're going to have a preterm baby, do not allow fear to destroy your life.
That's correct. Because we do know that even those that have preterm babies, such as yourself, as you mentioned, when they survive, they tend to thrive.
I'm getting my wrap-up signal. I want to thank Denise West for being on the program with us. Regina Onceicao. I got it?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And Valentina Jean Simon.
Yes.
I know you're going to have a healthy baby.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
Hopefully.
And live a long life. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but live a long life. Thank you very much for being on Brooklyn
Thank you for
45.
having
Thank you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are the challenges facing small black-owned businesses in Brooklyn? That's the first question that I'll be posing to my guests, Delroy Wright, owner of Delroy's Cafe in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and Camille Hostick-Ortiz, interim director of outreach at Small Business Services. Welcome to Brooklyn 45.
Thank you for having me.
So you tell me, what are some of the challenges?
Sure. Some of the challenges would be one, accessing capital would be one. Another challenge would be what I've noticed as myself and my teams have gone out and done some outreach is some businesses who are recently newer, storefront owners, usually lack a strong business plan and usually fail within the first few years because of it.
Business plan. Do small business owners understand the business plan and the importance of it, of course?
I think most business owners go into business or the life cycle of an entrepreneur thinking really big and not necessarily thinking smaller in the little details in terms of creating a business plan or a strategic plan, a real strong foundation to sustain a business, which ends up getting business owners in trouble.
Is there a stigma that small business owners suffer from members of the communities they serve? And I'd like to hear from both you and Delroy on this one.
It's an interesting question. I think when it comes to Black-owned businesses,
Yes.
I think that like for myself, I like to patronize Black-owned businesses. However, sometimes the price list can be a little bit too high, and it's not as practical as going to other stores at times. So different goods and services tend to vary, and so therefore for me, I think it does hurt a business owner when you don't necessarily set your price list to meet your market. However, you do have, minorities and Black people that do want to patronize, but unfortunately it's unrealistic if the price list is too high and it doesn't vary, it doesn't come within different scales to meet your market that you're servicing.
Delroy, I see you nodding your head and you're smiling.
No, I have a small, different version from what she really has based on the experience that I have. And now that we're talking about Brooklyn being in transition, what we do find now is that the ratio, there is a certain ratio depending on what type of business. If you're doing what you call shelf items, there are supposed to be a certain ratio from which you mark up your product. If you're doing service like restaurant, there's also a certain ratio that you mark up your business to be profitable. Once you find yourself go underneath those ratios, and those are the questions sometimes when they ask, why is the price so high? There are versions of which people say you mark your values down to create a volume sale, from which a volume sale will be able to can provide you that increment intake that can take you over the hump. But what we are seeing now is that with the upsurge of so many of the same businesses that are coming in, volume is not really one of those things that is applicable now in many of the businesses that we're doing. So what you find now in the service business, you have to do quality business, and you have to actually keep your price at a certain ratio, because the difference between your daily sale from 1 week to the next, and we usually use days to days to measure the percentage of growth that we have, it's not much that you're going to see 10% variation in any one day from the next. When you do see something go greater than that, it's just what you'd call an incident that occurs. So in order for you to really stay, and she mentioned earlier on that the business plan, we don't really come into the business with a business plan all prepared. We use our ambition and our drive to mostly open up business when we do need to put that business plan and recognize the growth factor that is needed to stay afloat. But what we do find is that the blacks are more apt to criticize the price of whatever you are, whether it's from, and I'm not going to speak from an academic point of view with this, but whether it's from the fact that the disposable income is not there, and the transitions that we are having now, they have the disposable income to spend, and we find that we get less critique as a black business person from the white patronage when they do come than what we get from the black customers.
How do you stay in business?
Well, creativity. Creativity. You always have to redefine yourself and look at what is going on. Over 30 years, as you know, I've known you for a while, been involved in business. When I started out as a young entrepreneur, I enjoyed the blessings of the black business because then at that time, we didn't have much black entrepreneur, and I was a young black man coming, so I could never do anything wrong. Today, when you look at that type of the clientele that you get is a complete different mindset now. Then there was no capitalism on our errors or mistake as black business, especially mine that I experienced. Now, if I make a mistake, I've been penalised.
How do you advise businesses to deal with their changing markets?
So I advise business owners in terms of changing markets that the plan that they put together, it should not be something that it's set in stone. That is always an evolution. You should have many iterations of it, just as Delroy mentioned, that he's changing from time to time and progressing and seeing where he can be creative and innovative and change strategies. So it's advising and making sure that if you do have a plan for now, make sure that you continue to look at the plan a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, and make it an evolution, an iteration, a constant change.
Tell me about small business services.
So for small business services, we provide all types of support services to small business owners. We're a one-stop shop. We like to say we're a one-stop shop for careers, businesses, and neighborhoods. And what I mean by that is that we provide workforce opportunities, job placement, recruitment for small business owners in the city, as well as for businesses. We provide business programs, incentives, legal assistance, navigating government, selling to government, the procurement process, MWBE certification. We support business owners throughout that process as well. And then with neighborhoods, we manage the merchant associations and business improvement districts throughout the city as well. So, we do everything from helping businesses start, operate, and expand.
And to stay afloat.
And definitely to stay afloat.
And to become successful.
And become successful and sustainable.
Delroy, how are you and other small businesses, particularly in the Flatbush area, affected by gentrification, which we see all around us, and by these big business companies that are also competing against you?
Two perspectives. One, I remember when I was very much active in the Merchant Association, we, in that area that I was, Flatbush to Empire, we were always trying to get the big business to come in. We did not see it then as a negative in the sense, even though we have heard the argument about it. What we were looking at then was, based on the fact that where the business volume, where the business support was coming from now, 6 blocks away at that time, practically speaking, 6 blocks away at certain point in the 2000. So we were looking at, say, how can we then bring in an influx of new businesses? The back stores were one way that we did not think it was negative for where we were, because then it would have bring in people from 20 blocks away, 30 blocks away that we could have made money off. So we did not see it that way. As to how it is now with the transitioning that's coming, like Miss Hostick here said, there are services out there, but for whatever it is, the black business them seems to be reluctant to utilize. I was involved with the Merchant Association, like you know, for a long time. Her father had the Chamber of Commerce. Business services, we would always bring them in, small business service, to talk about what's coming down the pike. And the thing that we want to see, you should always try as a business person, I always said, you can't just pull your door, put your stock inside, and expect you're going to do business. You're going to have to go out there and stay abreast of current situation. And I remember when the transition was coming in, when the gentrification is taking hold, we used to, as Merchant Association, we used to go to these local merchants and let them know that, hey, you guys got to come out to hear what's going on so you can prepare, change your product line now to meet the new demands that's coming. And for some reason, because they were not involved, all of a sudden, the change just creep up, not even creep up on them, because it was creeping when we were talking. It just came suddenly and hit them. At that point, they so happened to be, there was no interest in what they were doing in the area, completely changing the support that they were getting diminished, gone from the neighborhood.
So I guess there's need for more business associations like you were associated with.
For them to get more involved in it.
And there's need as well for more involvement by small business services.
Yeah, and certainly we do that. We have mobile outreach teams that go into the communities now, specifically into disadvantaged or low and moderate income communities, and let business owners know. And we go to them instead of them coming to one of our centers to let them know what it is that we provide and how they can provide it.
I think we are running out of time. I want to thank Camille Hostick-Ortiz and Delroy Wright. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any comments about this program, what you've just heard, post your comments on our Facebook page, Brooklyn45 TV, or email us at info@brooklyn45.com. Of course, you can see this and other programs on our Brooklyn45 TV YouTube page. So, on behalf of our entire Brooklyn45 team, thank you very much, Delroy and Ms. Ortiz, Ms. Hostick-Ortiz. When last I saw you, you were just Ms. Hostick.
I'm sure.
This is Brooklyn45. I'm Sam Tate.